team, this is Dr. Tim coming at you guys with Self-Care Saturday. So for this Saturday, what we're going to be talking about is a little recovery protocol for 21.2, okay? So with 21.2, with all the dumbbell snatches, the burpee box jump overs, it's a really high likelihood that sometimes that low back can get a little bit tight. And then we're also going to go over just a simple release technique for the calves because of all the jumping that we have to do in that workout as well. So go ahead and follow along with this. Go ahead and try this out after you do the workout. And I hope you guys did great on the workout and had a great time doing it. Alrighty team, so the first lacrosse ball release we're going to go over is going to be for the calf, okay? Now with how much jumping is in 21.2, a lot of times if that calf has a lot of tightness, sometimes we can get some pain or tightness down in the Achilles tendon, so this is a great way to release some of that. So all we're going to do is we're going to sit down on the ground, we're going to take our lacrosse ball and just place it underneath the calf, okay? What I want you to do there is roll around until you find a point that feels nice and tender, and then we're gonna let it stay there. If you need more pressure, all you're gonna do is cross the other leg over the top, okay? With the lacrosse ball on the calf, we can just let it sink in there for up to 2 to 3 minutes, or after about a minute, minute and a half or so, if you wanna add in some motion, like some flexion, extension of that foot, great way to add into the release and just find about 2 to 3 spots and do the same thing. Alrighty team, so the second lacrosse ball release we're going to be going over today is going to be for the low back itself. The area we want to hit here is that kind of small of the low back, almost as if you put that hand back behind, and it's going to be right kind of above that bony SI joint, kind of that bony part of the hip, right in the back there. We're going to place the ball kind of right in that small of the back. We're going to angle ourselves to the wall about 45 degrees, kick the feet out a little bit, lean into it, and then just roll around until you find a spot that's a little bit tender. Once we're there, we're gonna hold on to it. Again, we can hold on for about 2 to 3 minutes, just statically. If you want a little bit of motion for this one, the one that I like is to take this arm, reach it up overhead, and give a little lean, and then you can go back and forth there for about 8 to 10 after holding for about a minute or so, and just find a couple points in there to work out. Alrighty team, so after we go through a couple of those lacrosse ball releases for the calf and for the low back, what we're going to go into now is an exercise I've gone over before, but really great for low back tension, is just a simple cat and cow, okay? So we're going to come onto all fours, and then we're going to go between 2 different positions here. Now if the back's really tight, just watch the positions and don't push it too hard, but we're going to go between rounding up and getting a nice stretch in that low back up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to nice and gently come back and get a slight arch the other way. Again, up, really pressing towards the ceiling, and then back down, nice and easy, slight arch, okay? With this exercise, just make sure you're going nice and slow, really feeling those stretches, not pushing it too hard one way or the other, and if that back's really tight, go ahead and go through that for a couple sets of 10 in each direction. Alrighty team, so after the cat and cow, just a simple exercise we can go into in the same position that gets a nice little stretch on the low back that we can either do actively and dynamically or just a little bit statically, is essentially a rock back or kind of going back into a child's pose. Okay, a couple key points on this. When we're in this position here, what we're going to want to do is just a slight kind of tuck of the pelvis, okay? That's going to lengthen the low back out a little bit, and then all we're going to do from there is keep that slight tuck, press the hips back towards the heels until you feel a slight stretch there. If you need to move the hands out a little bit, you can. And either we can do it actively, which means we're gonna hold for about 10 seconds, and then we're gonna come back forward, and you can go through that same process about 10 times. Or what you can do is simple, like kind of child's pose, just push back, really lengthen, push the hips back until you feel a deeper stretch and hold for about 30 seconds. Alrighty team, so the last stretch that we're going to go over today is one of my favorites just for the low back in general. I'm going to step back a little bit for this one so you can see kind of what I'm doing. For this one, we're going to put our hand against the wall, okay? We're going to take our outside leg, kind of cross that over the inside leg. Hips go away from the wall, keeping the body nice and vertical. And then we're going to reach our arm up and then towards the wall. And you should feel a nice stretch kind of all through a little bit of that low back and the side, okay? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna hold that stretch for 30 seconds, And then I guys want you to flip around, do that on the other side, and you can repeat that process 2 to 3 times, holding for 30 seconds each time.